Hello everyone, hi, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode reaction to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is Real Life, and my name is Matt. Hello! Season 2, we're doing it. It's happening, Season 2, let's go. So, let's talk about what happened last episode in Season 1. So we got Prophecy Girl, where the prophecy determined that Buffy was going to be killed by the Master and the Master shall rise. But as with most prophecies in media, it comes to pass, but we can build around what was established in the prophecy and still make it work. So Buffy did die, but then she came back to life, kind of. And then the Master did rise, but then he died. So there you go. It was fun to have the Techno-Pagan, it was fun to have Cordelia, and then they all just kind of face the terrors that came after them in the library, and Buffy took care of the Master, Cinder and Angel saved Buffy, he died, and then they all went partying. So that's what happened last episode. Mostly what I really like about that episode was how the drama regarding the characters and how they felt and the way they acted, particularly during like the first half of it. So that was definitely my favorite part about that episode. Okay, we can move on now into Season 2. So before I even start, again, I'm reminding everyone that I decided that I will stop watching the show at the end of Season 2 unless this show does really well on the channel. So if you want to keep the Buffy reactions coming up, please continue to tune in and support the channel in any way you can, like likes, comments, subscriptions, and of course the Patreon. So if you want to support the channel, so any of that helps out. And if you want to keep seeing Buffy, then that's the way to do it. But people also have told me, and this is something I want to say right now, is that this is where the show gets good. Someone in particular told me that it's not that it gets good right away, but it gets good like halfway through Season 2. And by the way, when I say it gets good, I don't necessarily mean that what we've been watching up until this point was bad. That's not what I mean. But people have told me that like this is the point where like it kicks off. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Because while I've been watching a show and I've been like enjoying myself, I've been having a fun time with it. This show definitely has all the signs of like a show that exploded and everybody's just like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, right? There's so many hardcore fans, I can tell. And I'm like, I've been failing to see that with what I've been seeing so far. But also immediately, or like right away, people let me know that, yeah, people don't consider Season 1 to be like a masterpiece, but yes to what comes after it. So, okay, with that in mind, I'm heading into Season 2 being like, all right, high expectations. Maybe not right away, maybe not episode 1, but, you know, like I'm expecting it to like kick it up a notch, you know? I'm expecting it to be really cool, a cool journey. So I'm excited to do this. Also, I think Season 2 is like longer than Season 1, isn't it? Like, I didn't check, but I think it is. Look at freedom, it's so cool. We're getting ready to begin, but before I do that, Patreon, what's up? Check out the Patreon, check out the link below, pop up on screen. You can watch early episodes as well as full-on reactions if you want. But for this episode, because it's the first episode of Season 2, hello, I do this, and I did this for Season 1, and I'm going to do this at the beginning of every season if we continue watching more seasons. You can watch this episode in full length for free. So if you want to sync up your episode footage with my footage of watching the episode, you can do so for free. So there will be a link in the description that you can click, and it will take you to my full-length reaction for this episode. So if you want to sync my footage up with the episode footage that you have in order to watch it together, then you can do so. Anyway, let us begin. So, let us begin. So, Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 2, Episode 1. Let's go.
Let me get that for you.
Xander!
Sorry, I can't help myself. Your nose looks so tasty.
Aw. What the fuck? Okay, part of me was like, okay, we were going way too long without anything happening. What the fuck is this? Cool. What is she doing here?
Hi, guys.
Hi, I like your hair. You just exploded. Cool.
I figured you two losers would be getting into some kind of trouble.
Maybe she
think
brings
we
her
had the upper
trouble.
hand.
Biggest excitement was burying the Master.
That's right, you missed it. Right up by that tree. Giles
buried
buried the
him?
bones, and
Okay.
we poured holy water, and we got to wear robes.
Very intense. You should have been.
Very cult-like.
Man, I'm really glad you're back.
Me too.
Doesn't sound like you mean it.
I was totally beachless for a month and a half. No one has suffered like I have suffered.
Okay.
Of course, I think that kind of
Miss-
adversity builds character. Well,
Miss
then
you
I
too,
thought,
Cordelia.
I have a lot of character. Is it possible to have too much character?
That almost sounds meta.
Crawling around, mindlessly bent on feeding and mating,
Oh my
destroying
god.
everything in sight in their relentless, pointless desire.
Why is this your job? Why?
Somebody's got to keep an eye on them. They're just a bunch of hormonal time bombs. Every time a pretty girl walks by, every boy turns into a gibbering fool.
It's calendar.
Mr. Giles.
Well,
Funny. It's not just a joke on the fact that he's mirroring what's happening, but also the fact that they are not kids and they continue to have this. Because that is just a human thing. Which shows that the principal is the one that is truly disconnected from just any human qualities.
when you're ready, I think we should start your training again.
I'm ready. I'll see you after school.
Well, I understand if you want a few days to...
I'm ready.
I really like her hair. She's overdoing it. Does she have some weird PTSD after like kind of dying previous episode? That could be. Okay, that would be interesting.
Put our faith in him. He
Oh my god. I was kind of hoping he would just fade away and never come back. Told you we should have fucking killed that kid when we had the chance.
Dreams are meaningful.
Tell me about it. The other night I dreamt that Xander... it wasn't Xander. In fact, it wasn't me. It was a friend's dream, and she was...
I've killed you once. It shouldn't be too difficult to do it again.
Okay, nightmare. Yeah, okay, this is a nightmare. Yeah, and they're just uncaring. Yeah, okay. The master, yeah. That looked like a better mask. So she was affected by the events previous episode. That's cool. That's a cool thing to have for your character. Angel on the window.
Hello?
Yeah.
Mind if I come in? You don't sound too concerned.
I can handle myself.
She's...
Besides, I could use a little action anyway.
Just a little bit gung-ho.
Is that it? Is that everything? You know, because you woke me up from a really good dream.
It wasn't. She's so bitter. She definitely has issues. I suppose I didn't think about that. It makes sense.
I missed you.
Aww.
I missed you.
He's gone.
Willow, grow up. Not everything is about kissing.
Yeah, some stuff's about groping. Wasn't about groping.
We all need to chill.
Oh, look, it's the Three Musketeers.
Hi, what's up?
Is that an insult?
Kind of like punch.
The Three Musketeers were cool.
I see your point.
I would have gone with Stooges.
Well, I just meant that you guys always hang out together. So, did you guys fight any demons this summer?
See, we can't mention that stuff in front of other people. Buffy being the Slayer and all.
You haven't been talking about our little adventure all summer, have you?
Oh
Are
god.
you nuts? You think I would tell people that I spent the whole evening with you?
Works out.
I don't even like to think about it. So, your secret's safe with me.
Cool, thank you.
Well, that works out great.
Just don't say
You
it
won't
out
tell
loud.
anyone that I'm the Slayer, and I won't tell anyone you're a moron.
Wow!
Now that was a good insult.
A little too good.
A little too harsh. I mean, not... Cordelia's always harsh, right? But almost like you can't take her seriously. So that was a little bit uncalled for. Considering the fact that she was like, don't worry, I'm not gonna tell anyone.
Since she got back, she's different.
Okay, so...
Buffy's always been different.
Two things. One, issues, like something similar to a PTSD situation. Or when she died, something happened to her. Because she woke up and she was like, I feel different. So... oh
You
my
got
god.
something on your nose.
Oh my god. Oh, Willow. Shoot and miss. Shoot and miss. Keep going. I believe in you, girl.
The ground is consecrated.
Yeah.
It burns.
Keep going.
Dig.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, we should have just fucking killed that kid when we had the chance. You didn't have to dig long. Like, that was right there in the surface.
What are you afraid of? Me? Us?
Could you contemplate getting over yourself for a second? Look, Angel, I'm sorry if I was supposed to spend the summer mooning over you, but I didn't. I moved on.
She didn't move on from what happened last episode. That's the problem.
Let's dance.
Okay, now that's really weird.
Okay.
What if Sandra is the one that goes like, actually we shouldn't do this, there's something wrong. That would be so fucking cool. She goes in for a kiss and he denies her. The angel cam. Next is the willow cam. There we go. The Cordelia cam too, maybe? No. Okay. Is this a dark Buffy arc?
Did I ever thank you for saving my life?
I'm trying to figure out why this is happening. I mean, I can kind of tell, but...
Buffy,
Cordelia?
you're really campaigning for Bitch of the Year, aren't you?
Wow.
As defending champion, you're nervous?
We've never really been close, which is nice because I don't really like you that much, but you have on occasion saved the world and stuff, so I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna give you some advice. Get over it.
Excuse me?
Whatever's causing the Joan Collins tude, deal with it. Embrace the pain, spank your inner, mop it, whatever. But get over it. Because pretty soon you're not gonna even have the loser friends you've got now.
I think it's about time you start minding your own business.
I'll just see if Angel feels like dancing.
Oh god. Shit, they got her. Fuck. I've been telling you guys for like 3 episodes, Cordelia's like the best character in the show. I'm saying it, bro. She's absolutely the best character in the show. Now even Buffy's going to shit. Now, as long as they don't kill... Oh god, they got the Technopagan too. Why did they kidnap Cordelia of all people?
That wasn't Buffy.
Are we overlooking the idea that she may be very attracted to me? She's possessed.
Thank you.
I mean, why else would she be acting like such a bitch?
Well, I think we're all a little too old to be spelling things out.
A bitka?
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Moving on from Bitka.
Her experience with the Master must have been extremely traumatic. I don't think she's dealt with that on a conscious level. She's convinced herself that she's invulnerable.
They're gonna bring the Master back to life, and I seem to recall you telling me he was history.
Buffy, I've never heard of a revivification ritual being successful.
But you've heard of them? Thanks for the warning. Look, this is Slayer stuff, okay? Can we just have a little less from the civilians, please?
Okay, that's just about enough.
I believe some of us have class. You really have faith in those kids, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Weird.
We're believing in kids. You should hate them like I do.
Someone connected to the vampire.
That'd be me.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
We were close.
He bit her and then, yeah, killed each other.
Come to the bronze before it opens, or we make her a meal.
They're gonna cook her dinner?
Sander?
Go to the bronze and seize the day.
I don't like this.
All right.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
trap,
you guys
it's
are
clearly.
wrong. I can handle this.
Stop saying that. God, what's wrong with you?
Cordelia may be dead.
This is my fight.
It's a very interesting episode, if anything.
You have to trust someone. You can't do this alone.
You trust me.
You're not as strong as you think.
She's gonna beat his ass and be like,
Think you can take me?
show you strong.
What?
Oh, come on. I mean, you must have thought about it. Kick my ass.
It's interesting because when he was at her window, she actually did say, like I'm happy to see you too. But he left before he could hear that. But since then, she's just become so aggressive.
Why would they send just one?
Did they go after...
I still
Yes,
think we should have
they
gone
go after
with
the
her.
team. I thought about that earlier.
The Latin is translated from the Sumerian, and rather badly.
Someone
Closest
close to the
actual
Slayer?
translation is nearest, physically.
Okay,
The
nearest.
person or persons who were with him.
You three were next to him when he got impaled. Yes. And also Cordelia and Miss Calendar. Do you regret your actions this episode yet, girl? Why is he...
What happened?
Vampires. The ones you can handle yourself. I don't know what your problem is, what your issues are. But as of now, I officially don't care. If you'd worked with us for 5 seconds, you could have stopped this.
We just have to think. Where are they taking him?
If they hurt Willow, I'll kill you.
Why did they take them and not you?
Yes, that's a good question.
They needed people who are close to the Master.
He wasn't there! That's true! He was with Angel to the stairs. Oh my god, this fucking kid. Again! We should've just fucking decked this kid in the fucking face! We should've just shot him with the fucking crossbow when we had the chance. I told y'all!
For the dark.
For the dark. For the dark.
Dead. Cool. So did she impale that guy or did she just punch him? Because that other guy that exploded earlier, he got kicked into a wall. Angel, we're gonna need you to fight for us, buddy. Nice. Okay, they've been lowered. Okay, get it. Angel, we need your buddy. Can we not burn the fucking bones? I mean, I know it's bones, they're resistant, but you know, melt them in acid or some shit. They're gonna hit each other. No, she's gonna impale the both of them at the same time. Impale one, burn the other. Sure. She really didn't have to do a lot there. That was silly looking, but also cool. Anyway, GG. The kid's still alive though. Smash the bones. Boom. Honestly, we should have done this before. Alright, moment of vulnerability. And acceptance. Yo, where's Cordelia and Miss Calendar? Are they okay?
And you can dry clean till Judgment Day. You are living with those stains.
Yeah, that's the worst part of being hung upside down by a vampire who wants to slit your throat.
Mm-hmm.
The stains.
I hear you. What am I supposed to say? Sorry, I almost got your throat slit. What's the homework?
Punishing yourself like this is pointless.
I was a moron.
Growth. Nice.
That was hardly the worst mistake you'll ever make. That wasn't quite as comforting as it was meant to be.
She's right though.
Points for effort. I'll see ya.
Oh, teenagers. They're not gonna mind. Because like they understand.
Hey,
Like
Buffy.
time.
There's a rumor going around that Mr. Cox is the most boring teacher in the entire world.
Making small talk.
You want a belt or something?
Yeah, they're like nothing happened.
Yes.
Okay. Again, we should have used acid.
I hate that girl.
I'm gonna hate you, child. Alright, that's it. Alright, that was a very interesting first episode, honestly. I liked it. I liked it a lot. So this episode was really focused on Buffy and how she feels and how she's changed a little bit. But then at the end of the episode, it all gets resolved. But I would say that that's kind of a bold move to do. To like right away, first episode of the second season, to just have your main character be an absolute bitch. Sorry, bitka. Be an absolute bitka. And like she's terrible. But then she gets to the point where, of course, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions, and then everything goes to shit, and then everyone's life is in danger, and then she's like, oh fuck, I shouldn't have done that. And then she learns her lesson, and everyone's happy at the end. That's fantastic, but it's still a really bold move, because I can imagine that, like, this is the first episode of the second season. I can imagine people tune into the second season. They're like, oh, new season, new episode. And maybe they are people that have never watched the show in the first season. Maybe they are people that watch it on and off. They're not super familiar with what happened in it, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. I'll tune in for the first episode of the second season. Whatever. We'll see what happens. And then you run into a situation where the main character is terrible. So I can imagine that that's kind of a bold move to do, to just make your main character be an absolute piece of shit. But it's kind of a character journey, and it also makes her character stronger, and also gives us one of the fucking best scenes in the show, where Cordelia is like, Buffy, what the fuck? Yo, y'all. Okay, no. Like, no one has ever told me anything yet, because the Cordelia episode hasn't gone live on YouTube yet. It will go live this week. But that episode hasn't gone live yet, which means that I don't know what people will say about me commenting on Cordelia. But, like, I've been telling you since that episode for, like, 3 weeks now. I'm just like, Cordelia's the best character in the fucking show. I'm telling y'all. Like, that's true. That's absolutely true. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. Cordelia just turned into the best character in the show. And, like, Cordelia's very interesting because, like, half the time Cordelia is on screen, it's almost like a joke character. And the other half she's on screen, she's actually really fucking good. And I'm just like, I think that's actually kind of a perfect character for me, you know? A character that I only need to take seriously half the time. And the other half, I'm just like, haha, funny. But whenever I take him seriously, I'm just like, oh, you're very interesting. I really like you. Like, that's perfect, actually. Like, so Cordelia can be kind of a bitch and very, like, entitled and shit. But, like, whenever she is, it's almost like that's the Cordelia that you don't pay attention to, right? You only pay attention to the Cordelia when she's on an important scene. So I almost dismissed the half of Cordelia that I don't like, and I'm like, haha, funny. And I only pay attention to the one that I do like, which is, oh, you're actually very, very interesting. You have a lot of depth, so that's really cool. I like that a lot, that I'm doing that. But it was a fantastic scene when Cordelia just walks up to Buffy, and it's like, Buffy, what the fuck are you doing? Because even Cordelia was like, why are you being such a bitch? Why are you acting this way? Like, you're gonna lose the only friends you have. And it's a very real scene. And it, again, I know that the focus of this episode and that scene is on Buffy, but I'm looking at that and I'm just like, oh, Cordelia's so fucking good. Because Cordelia says this, it means that Cordelia understands what this is like. Cordelia understands exactly where Buffy's coming from. It means that Cordelia has a lot of like knowledge on, probably from her own personal experiences, which only makes me more intrigued about Cordelia, because Cordelia understands a lot of things and she knows a lot of things. She seems to be like almost the wisest character in the show, next to Giles and, well, like, yeah, whatever, Giles and like Angel, and like she's really wise in terms of like, I understand what I'm saying. I know it sounds fucking crazy, but like, listen, man, the fact that Cordelia is so aware about like what is happening to Buffy. I mean, she doesn't know the specifics, but she knows that something is happening to Buffy and it's making her act in this manner and what the consequences of that act will be. And she's actually like trying to give her advice, and she's like, get over it, because like you're being self-destructive, and not just self-destructing, you're actively harming everyone around you. You're being selfish and entitled, and it's just like, Cordelia's telling you this, like, girl, like, what the fuck? And it's just like, that means that Cordelia's aware of it. Cordelia's so aware of all of this, which adds another layer of her character that I'm just like, oh my god, this girl is great. Which further makes me just be like, yeah, whatever. Half of what she says is a joke and I'm not paying attention, and it's just whatever. I'm moving on. The other half of what she said, she's the most fucking aware person in the fucking planet, and she's wonderful. But anyway, let's talk about it. So in this episode, Buffy becomes
Dark Buffy.
So Buffy has this whole thing where, due to the events of the previous episode where she died and then she was brought back and she had to kill the master, she feels, okay, this is gonna be difficult to like talk about, because I'm also not the best person to talk about stuff like this. But it makes sense that because of what happened, Buffy would have some sort of, let's say, trauma, some sort of, I mean, it's not PTSD. PTSD is like an official diagnosis, but it is something similar to that. It's just trauma, right? She has this traumatic experience where she literally died and then she came back to life. And then she goes and kills this dude, and it's just like, oh, okay, whatever. Everything's good. We're good now. Let's go party. But realistically, a child went through this. And it's not just the fact that she died. It's also the fact that before that, she had this whole episode where she was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die. And then she went ready to die, and then she died, but then she came back. So it's like, she literally stared death in the face. And like, that would be a traumatic experience. It makes sense that afterwards she was very much not okay, and she was very distant. She was very distant with her dad, she was very distant with her mom, and she was very distant with everyone in the cast as well. It is difficult to blame her for her actions and the way she was acting in this episode, and you kind of just don't do that, because she's a teenager. Like, she's 16 or 17 at this point, whatever. It's not her fault that she went through all those things, and she had a lot of responsibility. She has a lot of moments where she goes through a lot and she has to do a lot, and also it's not just her life at stake, it's everyone else around her life's at stake. And she has a couple moments where she's just like, I'm tired of having to take care of you. Like, I'm tired of having to deal with you guys, this bullshit. Like, I'm just gonna go and just gonna kill him. I can do it. Fuck it. I'm strong. I'm just gonna go and kill him. Whatever. And it's just like, she's being reckless. She's being dismissive. She's just, what she's doing is that she's trying, I mean, okay, again, I'm not the best person to do this, and maybe I could crack like her character open and try to pull everything that is going on and talk about it if I had more time. But due to the nature of how I do these videos, I'm literally just recording my immediate thoughts after the episode. But something that I could see is that she feels like she has no control. She feels like she's vulnerable. She feels a lot of things. And you can see it in the fact that like she just completely dismisses Angel and tells Angel to get over himself a little bit, just not everything is about you. But she's just being aggressive and making it about herself when that wasn't even the topic Angel was talking about. She goes up to Sander and just starts like dancing with Sander and kind of gets close, kind of for like a kiss, but then she's like no. She just goes away. It's just like, I never thank you for saving my life. It would be cool if I did, right? And then just walks away. And she does this in front of Angel. She does this in front of Willow. It's kind of fucked up that she's doing this. She literally blue ball Sander as well. So it's almost like she's almost being vengeful, spiteful, whatever. Like, why did she do that to Angel and to Willow? Is it because she's trying to regain some control? It could be that. It could be just that. This is actually a very interesting thing to talk about. So people in the comments, you can let me know why you what you think went on with Buffy in this episode, because I don't know if this is something you can specifically say and pin down this is exactly how, what was going on in her head, because I feel like with this sort of things, there's a lot of things that go through your head and a lot of feelings and emotions and a lot of issues. And it's difficult to pinpoint exactly everything that's going on. And you almost can't. It's almost just like a conglomeration of stuff. And I'm pretty sure that if I asked the fans on this, a lot of you would actually give me different answers. And this would be something I would be down to read and talk about in the comments. Just what do you think was going on with Buffy this episode? Emotionally, specifically, what was something that you were able to pick up on? And I think this is it. Because something I'm immediately thinking of is the fact that she feels like she has no control. She feels like she is weak, and not weak, vulnerable, because she was vulnerable and she died and then she came back, and that probably did a lot to herself, to her feeling of not self-preservation, just a feeling of I suppose just her, is it her ego? Might not be her ego, because I don't think it hurt her ego. Maybe it did, but it's just her own self was hurt by what happened. And it was almost like things were not in her control. It was just some weird prophecy, and then she got killed, and then she was brought back by someone else. It's almost like a lot of things happened that were not in her control. She's a teenager still. That's something we have to remember. And going through all of these traumatic experiences mixed with all of that, I can see her developing some sort of I want to be in control of what's going on, immediately right now in my life. So she's I'm powerful. I don't need anyone to tell me what to do. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm strong. I'm gonna do it. Fuck y'all. And when someone tries to tell Buffy, Buffy, maybe calm down for a second, or Buffy, let's do this together, she's fuck all of you. I can do it myself. I'm fine. And it's just no, you're not. And I can see her doing that to Angel and Willow and Sander and everyone, really. Was almost her way of just saying, fuck you guys. I can do whatever the fuck I want. See? I can do whatever I want. And just leaves. But she's completely ignoring and dismissing her own feelings. She's actually being self-destructive as well as destructing everyone around you. Because she doesn't want to admit that she's feeling weak. Because that's the problem. She doesn't want to feel that. But if you don't admit that that's what's wrong, then you're going to do what she did this episode. So that was very interesting, and I feel like that's probably what it was. At least that's what I can pick up on immediately. And there's even another moment of vulnerability you can see when Angel comes on her window and she is oh hi, and they have this whole conversation, and she kind of dismisses Angel. And then at the end, Angel leaves, and he's what did he say? But it was something it's nice to see you, or something like that, right? Okay, he said, I miss you. And then she said, I miss you too. But he left by the time she said that because it took a little bit. But that was a moment where Buffy struggled to like showed some kind of vulnerability, some kind of emotional connection, because emotions make us feel weak. Like that's the reason why when you have issues with that, you don't want to show that you care about someone. You don't want to show that you love something or someone or anything. You don't want to show that you're angry even. Like that's the reason why when someone is angry and you're like, oh, you're angry. They're like, I'm not angry. It's because of that. It's because like you don't want to admit that you are emotional, because emotions make us feel like we're not in control of ourselves and our actions. But like emotions are completely normal and they're part of the human experience. And like you can't just say I'm not and dismiss them, because that's the problem. So Buffy just had a moment where she didn't want to admit that she was like, oh, I miss you too. And by the time she did, he was already gone. But then the next time they see each other, Buffy's just like, oh, fuck you, whatever. And like, that's almost like Buffy had a moment where she tried to like claw back and try to like actually connect with someone, but it was too late. And then a couple days later, she's just like, fuck it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But then after, everyone gets taken and everyone's life is put in danger. And actually fucking the biggest shout out to Xander for doing the best thing he could have possibly done in this episode. That he was left behind, he was beat up, but the vampires didn't kill him and they didn't take him because he wasn't next to the Master when the Master got impaled and died. I completely forgot about that. Like, yes, he was with Angel on like the staircase that when they went with Buffy. The only people that were next to the Master was Willow, Giles, Cordelia, and Miss Calendar. So, yeah, Xander was left behind, and Buffy's like, oh my god, oh, I'm sorry, I should have been here. And Xander's like, you should have been here. Like, absolutely, if you had just stayed with us for like 5 minutes, we would have been able to figure this shit out. And instead, you went alone, and you put everyone in danger, you took the bait, and like, fuck you. And I like that he's just like, if they hurt Willow, I'll fucking kill you. Like, I love that moment. I genuinely do, because that's a moment of like Xander gets over his crush. He's just like, oh, fuck this bitch. Just like, she's fucked up and like she did everything wrong and she put us all in danger. And if they kill my best friend, who maybe I'll develop a crush on or not, because they did have a scene at the beginning where they almost kissed. If they hurt best girl, I'm gonna fucking kill this bitch. And like, honestly, that's great. That's a great moment of, not to say that saying, okay, so it's weird because you can't really look at a moment where like you see a main character threatening the main character and they're friends, but he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, that's not necessarily a good thing, but in this case it is, because Buffy is acting like a terrible person, and Xander, like, I would actually be so angry if Xander would have been like continued to simp for Buffy. If he would have been like on the Buffy train still after all that happened, I would have been like, Xander, you're the worst character in the show. I mean, I kind of already think so anyway, but like I would have been like, yo, I fucking hate this kid. But because Xander was like calling her out on her bullshit, and he was like, I'm gonna fucking end you if something happens to Willow because you fucked up. I'm just like, that's so good, because it shows that he cares. He cares about Willow, and he's willing to put his like weird feelings that maybe he's moved on from, which I'm super thankful about Buffy. Like, that makes me so happy, because like I appreciate so much the fact that Xander acted in such a manner, and he told Buffy that, because Buffy needed someone to tell her that. And like, yes, she realizes her mistake. Yes, she put everyone in danger. She still needs someone to act as like the audience self-insert, being like, bitch, what the fuck? If they hurt Willow or Giles or Calendar or Cordelia or anyone because you were emotional and you didn't want to face your issues even though everyone told you that, then I'm done. I'm stopping watching the show after the first episode. Like, that's absolutely something that's happening, and I'm glad that Xander stepped in and he acted and said the things that we were all thinking. Just like, bitch, what the fuck? This is your fault. Fuck you. And I'm just like, perfect, wonderful. And that's something Buffy needed to hear as well in order to realize everything that went wrong, and in order to finally face the moment of like, I need to stop being such a selfish bitch because I'm putting everyone's lives in danger, and I can say that I don't care about them, but the moment that actually they're gonna die, I'm just like, oh god, what did I do? Because the reality is that they were all always supportive of her. They've always been supportive and friendly towards her. But she almost feels detached from them because they are not the Slayer. They don't have the same issues that she has. They don't understand exactly what she's like. They don't understand exactly what she's going through, but at the same time, they're trying their best, man. And like, they're trying their best to be there. But she had the moment of like, I can't trust them. She had the nightmare where they themselves were choking her because Giles was the one that kind of killed her. She feels that way, even if that's not actually what happened, even if she doesn't think so. That's kind of what it feels like to her. And I'm glad that I remember that dream because that dream makes a lot of sense, that nightmare. And like Xander and Willow were just like chilling, watching it happen. Like, I understand that Buffy feels this way, but like absolutely everything is her fault in this episode. And I'm glad that she realizes it and she manages to get over it, as Cordelia said. And then she cried on Angel's like shoulder, and it was kind of cute, and that's nice. So yeah, that was the Dark Buffy episode. Okay, let me skim through it, see what else happened. Well, Giles clearly has a crush on Miss Calendar. She will continue to be a character, which I'm happy for. Well, right at the beginning, Xander and Willow had this moment where maybe they are developing feeling for each other. I mean, Willow already has them. Xander would be the one that has to like reciprocate. Man, Buffy came in at like exactly the moment in order to cockblock Willow, which is kind of unfortunate, kind of funny, but like, okay, if they're going down the route of actually Willow and Xander are gonna get together, I'm just like, okay, I can maybe get behind that, because while I don't like Xander very much and I like Willow very much, Willow has a thing for Xander, and it's like almost hopeless, as shown by that scene. Xander like puts like ice cream on her nose, and that's what kind of makes it so they will kiss. And then Willow later in the episode puts ice cream on her nose again, and then she looks at Xander like being like, maybe it will happen again, and Xander's like, you have stuff in your nose, and Willow's like, oh. As shown by that scene, I can tell that Willow is like hopelessly in love with this kid. So kind of like at this point, I'm just like, yeah, fuck it, make it happen. I hope it happens just because I want to see her happy, you know? I don't think he's the best candidate, but at the same time, that one scene in this episode that I just talked about, I think it was pretty good. So you know what? I'll be like, fine, I'll take it. I just want the girl to be happy. She deserves the best. So yeah, anyway, if that is what's gonna happen, I kind of would be down for it. Just to make her happy. Just to make Willow happy. They smashed the bones of the master with a sledgehammer. Listen, man, just throw the bones into a pit of acid. Just like fucking burn them away. Like, maybe you can like give me some bullshit magical explanation way of like, they will not melt no matter what. The bones are too strong. They have evil spirits in them or some shit, like whatever. You can give me an explanation of that, I'll buy it. But like the fact that they buried the bones and they put like some holy water in the ground and being like, yeah, they won't touch it now, and they did. And the fact that, I mean, given they didn't know that they could resurrect people, but then they hit the bones with a sledgehammer and then they just left them there. They didn't touch them again. Fuck it, they should have just picked up all the bones and then melt them. Just melt them on acid or some shit. Like, if fire doesn't do the trick, acid works. Whatever, man. Just anything that will just, like, make them go away, disappear. Okay, so I will say, maybe if the master is never gonna come back, they can't resurrect them. Now that the bones have been, like, squished, they, like, because, okay, realistically, they were not. Realistically, there's a bunch of bones. There's, like, a tibia. There's, like, some femur. There's a piece of the cranium. They're all still, like, together. They're still like function. You can tell what they are. They're not dust. They're still pieces of bones. You can maybe still resurrect them as a result. But like maybe in the plot, they cannot do it. Like maybe like, okay, written in a book, right? Imagine this being written in a book. And then they destroyed the bones and they can no longer be brought back, right? But if you watch the show, if you look at the specifics, you're like, that skeleton looks pretty intact to me. Not fully, but it's not dust. If it was dust, I would be like, okay, cool, we're good. But it's not. So I think that they could still maybe make an attempt at bringing him back. And if they do, I'm going to be fucking insufferable. And I'm going to be like, fucking melt the bones with acid. But if they don't do it, that's fine. If they just completely say like, okay, the master's gone, we're not gonna try to resurrect him again, I'm like, okay, I believe that. But yeah, just melt the bones with acid. That's all I'm saying. I really like the scene at the end where Buffy comes back, and I like that Buffy was like, she was very conscious about just like, I don't want to go talk to them. The fact that she was so guilty about what happened that she felt like she didn't want to face Xander and Willow because she felt like she put all of their lives in danger, which she did. She acted like a complete bitch, which she did. And she was like, I don't want to face them. Like, it hurts. It hurts having to go face them. And Giles is like, you can't go live in a cave for the rest of your life. And Buffy's like, will it have cable? She wants to run away. She wants to run away from something that hurts her. She wants to run away from taking responsibility and ownership of her actions, that everything she did wrong. Giles is like, you gotta go and do that. There's gonna be a lot more things like this happening to you in life that you're gonna have to face. And Giles is like, well, actually, that wasn't really off Lefton, was it? And it's like, no, that's good, because that is true. It's kind of like a coming of age topic, like story, because again, Buffy's a teenager. It's the fact that like she's going through this moment where she acted like she did everything wrong, and she messed up things with her friends, and she's afraid of dealing with the emotions that would come as a result. Just like I absolutely fucked up this like friendship, and I kind of don't want to talk to them anymore. Not because I don't like them, because I do. I love them, but I just feel so guilty. There's some, I don't know what the fuck is happening outside, but there's some weird noise. But she just wants to run away from what that interaction would be like, because it would just hurt too much. It would hurt too much to see your friends and for them to just completely either blame you, dismiss you, reject you. You don't want to see that because you care about them. And even if you showed that you didn't, that was just you dealing with your issues. The reality is that you do care. That's why you were so affected by this event. But because of what you did, you are afraid that they will reject you now. And you don't want to deal with those emotions. So it's almost like better to just run away and never deal with them, which is not good. That's not the solution to any problem, right? By the way, like, if I know there's a lot of, okay, so most people that watch these videos, they're not young, because I can see the analytics. A lot of people that watch these videos are from my age range, which is like 20s, and then people in the 30s even. But like, if you're a teenager, or fuck, if you're a kid, you shouldn't be watching those. But if you're in your teens or a young adult, fuck it, whatever. And if you are running into situations of like, I fucked up and I actively kind of want to run away because I don't want to deal with the feelings that would come as a result of this. So I would rather just leave. And you can try and justify it any way you want. You can try and justify it as like, oh, these people are going to be better if I just leave, or whatever. Don't do that. Actually go and face the problem. Actually go and try and talk to people and communicate. Trust me, that's actually like the right thing to do. It's the best thing to do, not only for you, but also for everyone involved. So please do that. If you're someone that's young and you haven't run into this situation yet, because I feel like eventually we all kind of run into something like this, but if you still haven't run into a situation like this and maybe you are in something like that happening right now in your life, please go and deal with it. Go and talk to that person or group of people. Go and actually express how you feel and what happened, and they will do the same, and then you will all be able to move on. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to move on, and they're not going to move on, and that's just going to be a wound that's just going to be left open for like 10 years. And you need to deal with that shit. Anyway, that's my word of advice to you, randomly. The random shit that I say every week. That was it just now. I don't know if there's anything else I can say about this episode that I haven't already said or touched on. Maybe I'll figure it out while I'm editing, as I always do, and I'll bring it up next week. But yeah, anyway, this was great. Cordelia continues to be the best character in the show. This is just gonna keep going. This is gonna keep going until the show proves me otherwise. But Cordelia seems to be the best character in the fucking show, and I can't fucking believe that. That is the timeline we live in right now. But actually, Cordelia is great. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to this Buffy reaction. See you next week. But if you would like to watch the next episode or the next 2 episodes to Buffy reactions, you can already do so over at the Patreon. You can support the channel in the process, catch early access episodes, all sorts of cool stuff. Check out my social media, my other channels that I have, also some stuff that I do. See you guys next week. Bye bye. Take care.